Yeah, we'll continue our alternate future of the world series. And over here, a few nations, the Cascadia Nation, the North Cascadia? Maybe it's not that. And all these nations decide to reunite with one goal, solving this frozen world. How can they solve this crisis? They must solve it as their belief before it gets too late. Because they're seeing a lot of collapses happen. But what they didn't expect is that a nation decided to eat all this land. Part of it is unhospitable, like up in the northern part, most likely. I'd say inhospitability is all the way down into Sweden, southern Sweden. But as you can see, they just annexed some frozen wasteland. And well, the Ukrainian nation gets angry. Yes, they get angry. They're an angry nation. They're an expansionist nation, a brutal expansionist nation. Anyone that's against this narrative is prison, basically, in this world. At this point, because Ukraine became evil after freedom. And well, the German nation joins, yes. Hungary joins, and Bulgaria. And we also get Turkey. And yeah, I want to make a joke about Turkey, but I'm not going to. Because it's so hungry, honestly. It'll make Hungary even hungrier. So probably don't make it. With them marching north. With the Russian nation struggling to hold back. And they ask for help. With them basically collapsing. And basically being pushed back all the way to what? Basically kicked all the way back. With an offensive being launched. Not with that color, but this color. It was launched by the Blue Nation. And while they launch it into this area, well, you might think they're the only ones. Well, the Bulgarians launch an offensive here, and they decide to launch one to the north. With the Hungarian offensive meeting with the Bulgarian. Well, a stalemate starts to form. But they manage to move forces through to here, and well, as they manage to get communication signals, they decide to do an offensive this way. Yes. Well, you can see the front lines all connecting up. The Ukrainian nation attempting to reach the coast that's frozen, because the ocean's frozen. Yes, the ocean's frozen. And with this nation managing to launch small offensives across the front. And eventually, they end up looking like this. And that's embarrassing. With them pushing into Crimea's area. As they start taking key areas of this country. Including over here, which starts to lead to problems. And then Turkey gets significantly pushed back. Managing to have to pull out of the war fast. With this managing to come back under their control. As the Ukrainian nation has collapsed. And they decide to launch a peace treaty. Let's see how it goes. Of land to the Bulgarian Empire, Hungary, and Germany. But a big chunk went all the way back to Russia. Russia is back. And we also have Turkey losing a bit of their access to the straits. Yes, their strait access to the straits. And well, Czechia is in trouble. They're surrounded by two imperialists who get everybody to agree that they should be annexing them, just because these nations can't survive on their own. Which is their rhetoric they use. They can't survive. And everybody agrees, making this nation have to give up their sovereignty. Yes, they're forcing nations' sovereignty now. Didn't that work well the last time you did it? Just asking. I'm not sure. Maybe it did. France, are you certain? France, are you certain? With France declaring war on Iberia there. And Italy, claiming they all stole from France. Yes, they all stole from France. France is sad. Yes, France is sad. But France is pretty awesome, though. Just saying. I think France is cool. And, well, without any strategy, because they decide to use a Russian general. No, I'm kidding. From World War II, who thought it was a good idea to send millions of men. Fine. World War I generals were like, yeah, they probably shouldn't be fighting, but we'll send them. Also, we have new ways of fighting, but we're going to use old strategies yet. Not a good idea. Well, it can't be as embarrassing as France in World War II. The strongest nation, I believe, in the world at the time just collapsed. Yeah, that's embarrassing. And they take a dive all the way to Madrid, capturing the city. Spain surrenders, along with Galicia getting captured. And then Portugal loses its two major cities. And basically all of its coast is forced into surrender. France takes these two areas and agrees with Italy to a peace treaty. Italy agrees. It's not a harsh peace treaty, but let's see the peace treaty. They're trying to build up to fight their big Italy. They annex all of Brittany and Normandy, all of Galicia, all of Catalonia, all of Basque. And then they build a corridor to connect to that area, and they build some south. They create three puppets. Spain, Portugal, and Italy. Why would they do this? Because, well, they believe they only have one enemy. And that enemy is Germany. Yes, they hate each other still. With Hungary after it's Hungary. It's Hungary, so it expanded. While Pakistan isn't looking, this one of India's states decides to get annexed them. And these nations decide to unite. Then these two decide to unite, with this one deciding to unite too. This was not supposed to happen, but it did. Well, that's pretty much all for today's video. Please like, subscribe, and comment. Wild Mapper out, but not until you subscribe.